On this, we are now joined live from Washington by correspondent Kevin McCallis. Kevin, good evening and thank you so much for joining us. To what extent will Sanders' endorsement improve Hillary Clinton's presidential chances come the November 8th elections?
This could have a significant effect on Hillary Clinton's ambitions for the White House. 13 million Democrat voters turned out for Bernie Sanders throughout this campaign. So that's a large proportion of voters that could be turned towards backing Hillary come November the 8th. And she'll be hoping that's exactly what happens. They'll be breathing a sigh of relief, the Hillary Clinton campaign today, because they've been made to wait. The Vermont Senator took his time. He ran a very fierce and successful campaign, and he wasn't in any rush to end that. But Hillary Clinton today sealing his support is very significant.
Now, in recent Reuters Ipsos polling, only about 40% of Sanders backers say they would back Clinton. Will this change, or does Clinton still have a lot of work to do to convince Sanders backers to back her?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think they'll need reassurance. Senator Sanders ran a very progressive insurgent campaign, and he sort of unearthed this wave of young voters, this optimistic wave who were joining in his call for a political revolution. They really bought into that. They filled stadia across the country to see this unlikely hero of the young people speak to them about his visions for the United States future. So yes, I think Hillary Clinton will need to reassure them that his liberal left-leaning agenda will be upheld on matters such as universal health care, social security, wealth inequality. Those are all issues that were real pillars of his campaign.
Now, we understand the appearance in Portsmouth concluded weeks of negotiations between the two camps as Sanders pressed for concessions from Clinton on his liberal policy agenda. Will you say Sanders actually won this round after all?
Yeah, to some degree, absolutely. From small beginnings, I remember when Sanders took to the Hill to announce he was running for the presidency. It was a very unfamiliar scene because there was only a handful of journalists and reporters and cameras actually turned up to cover that event. Compare that to Hillary Clinton's sort of all bells and whistles affair, where thousands turned out to cheer her announcement that she was running. So Sanders has gone from a Vermont senator, a small state senator. He's broken out of those borders. He's become a political superstar, and the millions who have flocked behind his message uphold that idea. So has he won after all? Well, he's certainly opened up some minds to his notion of this political revolution. He's polarized politics within the party and across America. So yes, I think much of his message has been heard, and some of it has actually been taken on board by the Clinton campaign, and perhaps if she is successful come November the 8th, we will see some of the Sanders agenda picked up in her administration.
So is there a possibility that we're likely to see Sanders getting a post in the cabinet?
At the moment, Hillary Clinton is focused very much on who will be her running mate, and it's safe to say that won't be Senator Sanders. But he won't want to end his movement here. He will be looking to seal maybe a senior role in the Senate, somewhere where he can have influence, somewhere where he can safeguard the many promises that Hillary Clinton's campaign has now given him on the things that really matter to him, ending social injustice and inequality and that wealth gap that he's always talking about reducing. So he will be looking to hold her feet to the fire, if you like.
Now, Kevin, just looking last week at Clinton in terms of the Communications Workers of America's labor union who are backing Sanders, and now they are jumping onto the bandwagon and backing Clinton. Does this mean that she is going to push forward and they're going to make sure that they have their constituencies and their union members supporting her? Or will this kind of split ways for members of the unions in terms of deciding who they're voting for between Clinton and Donald Trump going forward?
The two groups you mentioned falling in behind Hillary Clinton is significant, but she already, the former US Secretary of State, she already had a sizable labour organisation support. But the message that this sends is this is about unifying, you know, the party unifying, the support base is unifying now behind Hillary Clinton. And she's been made to wait for that. She's had to wait until today to hear the words, "I endorse," from Bernie Sanders. And that's significant. Together Stronger, the banners that decorated that platform where they both spoke in New Hampshire, just repeating, driving home that message. So yes, it is significant, and Hillary Clinton will hope that that translates into votes come November.
Now, comparing the two parties, looking at the Republicans and the Democrats, it took Sanders long enough to endorse Hillary Clinton, as you mentioned, and as we've seen as time's gone on, they seem to have had the same problems in terms of unifying the two parties. Donald Trump is having a problem unifying the Republicans. What's going to happen? What are we likely going to see going forward, especially now that Sanders and some of his supporters are backing Clinton?
Yes, some of Sanders' supporters have said that they would rather give their vote to Donald Trump than to Hillary Clinton. I've also seen some supporters of Sanders who say that they're going to write his name, Sanders that is, his name on the ballot paper come the general election anyway. But Donald Trump has some issues of his own, fast approaching that Republican convention where he'll be formally announced as the GOP candidate for this election race. He needs to seal his support within the ranks, the establishment of the Republican Party, and that's proving difficult. A lot of senators, Republican senators, actually saying that they will not be attending the convention. They don't always give a reason why, but I think what's implied there is pretty obvious, that they are turned off by the politics of Donald Trump, which have been controversial to say the least since day one, but haven't derailed his campaign, which has seen him get ever closer to that runoff.
Now, getting closer to the runoff, are we likely to see him changing his stance with regards to immigration, Muslims and women in general, just to make sure that he unifies the party and he ensures that he gets the votes come the GOP?
Well, so far Donald Trump has succeeded where everyone said he would fail. He was an outside bet when this campaign began so many months ago, but he's left well-established Republican figures who also wanted to be on the ticket in his wake. One after the other, they fell away as his popularity grew, and he travelled the United States, filling out stadium after stadium. That success is down to him speaking his mind. He has, attracted this outsider vote, if you like, and that's propelled him in the polls and secured his position to run for the White House. So why would he change that strategy anytime soon? I don't think he will. He's fairly unapologetic. He said some incredibly controversial remarks, ranging from his opinions on Mexicans to Muslims to veterans to the disabled. Controversy that hasn't blunted his momentum this far.
Now, Kevin, just looking at Hillary Clinton, she has made history with regards to her being the chosen candidate for the Democrats and the presidential candidate come the November 8th election. Are we likely going to see sentimental votes for a lot of the American people?
Sentimental votes? I don't think so. I think Hillary Clinton wants to appeal to a wide variety of Democrat voters. I think she has obviously leaned more to the left in a bid to attract that the youthful support that Bernie Sanders harnessed during his campaign. The reason why she beat Bernie Sanders, or one of the reasons why, is because the ethnic minority groups came out in large numbers. African Americans came out in large numbers. Women came out in large numbers. And those are the demographics that Hillary Clinton is relying on to come out on November the 8th and cast their vote for her, to make her the first woman to be commander-in-chief here. And as long as she can cement those swing states, the all-important swing states, just like New Hampshire. It was no coincidence that she was in New Hampshire today to have that Bernie Sanders endorsement. Those are the states she needs to wrest away from Donald Trump. So if she can do that, then yes, she stands every chance of making history.
Now, the 8th of November is a long way to go, with a lot of work for both candidates to do on both sides. What are we likely going to see going forward from today after this endorsement by Bernie Sanders for Hillary Clinton and for Donald Trump going forward? Their targets, you mentioned New Hampshire. What is next for both candidates?
Well, they'll start campaigning fiercely. They'll take their message on the road and try and reach out to as many potential Democrat and Republican, respectively, Republican voters as the two candidates can. Hillary Clinton, we know, financially is in a better position. She has quite a strong war chest at present. Donald Trump, perhaps not so much, despite being a billionaire himself. Some reports suggesting that his fundraising capability really hasn't been stretched too much, and you need money to win elections in the United States. That's just the way it is at the moment. They pay for advertising, they get the message out there. This is a big country. So yes, that's what they'll be doing. They'll be taking their message to the people, flying from state to state. It's a fairly relentless process now in the months leading up to the White House, but that's what it takes if you want to become the President of the United States.
Kevin, thank you so much for joining us. We have to leave it there for now. That was our Washington correspondent, Kevin McCallis, confirming Washington's endorsement by Bernie Sanders of Hillary Clinton.
Now, here at home, a number of artists have thanked